just so mad at the Chin Chin Man. I don't even know what to say.
Howdy! Welcome back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Where's that from? I don't know, I think it's from some TV show or something. Anyway, today we're gonna start reading Transcendent Kingdom. Another book that's been making its rounds, or has been for a while actually, making its rounds on Bookstagram, BookTube, Goodreads. Like, I've literally just heard so much about this book. And it's a rainy day out, so I figured why not start it now? I mean, there's nothing to do. So I'm hoping it's gonna be good. I haven't even read the summary yet. This is Kip's pick, so I was just like, okay. But I'm excited, especially because I think she's Nigerian or from Ghana, one of them. So I'm excited about that because my dad is from Mali, so like just reading African writers sometimes is just like so exciting for me. So I'm excited. I'll be back when I've read a little bit.
So I'm on Transcendent Kingdom now, and I'm on page 31. And so basically, so far in the book, we've met the main character, Gifty, and her mom. And so far, the book kind of, you already talk about a lot of different topics already in the 31 pages that I've started. So you get to see about the depression, her mom and the depression, and her dealing with the church, and her opinions about the church, how she feels. And so far it's really good.
Okay, I've just finished chapter 7, and so far actually it's pretty good. I really like it. The number one thing is that the family is from Ghana, and that's just so exciting because like African culture and representation. Yeah. And then like homegirl is a PhD student in neuroscience, which is just like but also like Black women in STEM is just really underrepresented. So kudos to you, boo-boo. Kudos to you. And then I also identified with the part where she's telling her classmates that she's a princess. Look, when I was younger, my dad had us convinced that we were princesses. Like, I used to actually go to school and be like, yeah, I'm a princess in Mali. And they'd be like, no, you're not. Like, stop lying. And I'm like, no, really, for real. My dad said I'm a princess. So, yeah, I'm already just like really identifying with the book. All right. It's been a few days since I've read this book. Not because it's bad or anything. I just didn't have the time or the energy. But I'm back on a nice little Saturday morning. Cooking breakfast, so I just put the audiobook on, and I just finished chapter 13, and I just feel so bad for this family. The parents immigrated here, and like they can't find very good paying jobs, and so they can't really afford groceries. They're living in the deep South, so they're experiencing so much racism, and it just seems like they're one of those families where it seems like the universe has set them up to fail. And unfortunately, it's really affecting the children. The scene that just ended was when the kids ate, like they went through the cabinets and everything and ate like a granola bar and something else. And the mom found the wrapper in the trash. So a little argument ensued, and the kids went to Nana's bedroom, and the parents were still arguing. And Nana gave her a coloring book, and it's just like, it's one of those situations that you read about in other books where it's just like the kids have to protect each other. Well, in this case, it's Nana protecting her because she's 4, and it's just really saddening. So yeah, my pancakes are about to burn. Bye. Okay, I didn't get much further. I just finished chapter 14, and that's a chapter where the Chin Chin Man leaves and goes back to Ghana. And at this point, I just feel really bad for the children, and I feel no remorse for the parents. Um, it seems like they fought all the time, and the only resolution they had, or he had, was, I'm going to move back to Ghana and you guys are going to stay here. And I'm not even going to tell the children that I'm not coming back, because I feel like when he left, he made a decision and he wasn't coming back. And I just feel like that was a very selfish move. I mean, I don't have a husband and I don't have children, but I still believe that, like, once you have children, it stops being all about you, and it's also about the betterment of your child. And he just left them there with the parent that they didn't even like. They liked him, but it's also, she wanted to move there, and it was for greater opportunity. And I get that, and I admire that and everything. But your kids can't eat, so what do we do? So I think that they both went about it wrong. She was looking at the greater picture of, like, this is going to be better for the children to live in America. Okay, but you're living in America and you can't eat. So what do we do? And obviously, like, the author hasn't gone into, like, great detail about, like, what they've been doing besides the mom, like, keeping track of all their finances and penny pinching to try and make it stretch. But I just, like, was the only solution for him to leave. Like, I know he wasn't making a whole lot, but, like, wasn't there some income coming there? Like, and he even said himself, like, it's not all about money. Like, if you have happiness, then that's something. And he didn't have happiness with the mom. Like, they were always fighting. We can get that. But the children were happy with him. So, no, that's just kind of how I feel about it.
Okay. So I'm on chapter 31 of Transcendent Kingdom, and so far, it's good, but I feel as though it's kind of like, which isn't bad, it's like the book goes like a journal. So it's more reflective of Gifty telling, the story about her brother and how she relates with religion and stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like in that aspect, it's like more like a journal, which is nice, but sometimes it can feel a little bit like just too jumpy. It's going from present, past, and to like far past, and present. So yeah, but other than that, it's okay. So where I'm in the book, her friend Anne, Gifty's friend Anne, is kind of like slyly trying to get her to open up more about like what happened to her brother and everything like that. And like she just basically like goes off at Anne and just says like, oh, he overdosed, and then I think her friend Anne just like pushing her to try to open up more about her brother wasn't really the best thing. Like, she should just let her open up whenever she's ready. And then also in the book, we're getting a little bit more about Raymond, and I'm just noticing that her relationship with like her mom and her brother is having an effect on how she builds relationships with others in her life. So that's one thing that I'm noticing. But yeah, so far I'm liking it. I'm almost done. And yeah, bye.
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Fatimah.
And I'm Janay.
And we are KipnSip. We read Transcendent Kingdom, so let's just jump into it. Kip, what did you rate this?
I rated it a 4-star. Yeah, hey, I liked it. Okay. What'd you rate it?
Yeah. I gave it 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, really? I'm glad you liked it. So give me like your overall, like what you liked about the book, why you gave it 4.5 stars.
So I think that I feel like I just like really identified with it. She's the daughter of 2 immigrants from West Africa. They're from Ghana, and like my dad's from Mali. He's also an immigrant. So I feel like that first generation like African kid is just like we have like some of the same experiences. Yeah. Or even if it's not like relatable for me, like I still have like a lot of cousins here who like have very similar family dynamics. So I feel like that automatically like gave it an extra boost for me. And then like her being a woman in science, and then I wasn't expecting a lot of the book to be about her brother's struggle with addiction. And I mean, I work in the opioid epidemic realm, so it was really relevant for like the work I do. So I was like, oh my gosh, I identify with this book so much. So yeah, I mean, there were a couple lulls where I was just like, all right, girl, come on, sweetie. Like I had the audiobook in and I was like, should I press fast forward just a teeny bit? But then I was just like, don't do it. There were those scenes where like they were talking about like deeply talking about God, and I'm like, look, I ain't been to church in like a month of Sundays, and I'm not even sure about that. So that was like great for her, but I'm like, should I just fast forward just a teeny bit? I don't know. So I didn't. I wanted just going through all of it, but what did you think?
I definitely get with like relating to different parts in the book. So especially like there's like different things that she hit on, and I'm just like, ooh, like when I was like reading, I'm like, I had to tab a little bit in my book. I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, that was a good point. So the parts about religion and stuff like that, like her struggling with her church, and so let me just go back. So in the beginning of the book, I had started reading, and I didn't notice that there wasn't really like a specific plot or like a conflict that the person is trying to like work to accomplish or do in the book. So then I'm like, okay. So then I keep going, and then this, the story hops from in the past and then goes back into the present, and it does it quite frequently in the book. So sometimes that took me a little bit, like I had to get used to it because just keep that thing of keep jumping from present to past. So, but once I got used to it, I'm like, okay. And then it felt like, which it was, it had different excerpts of her journal inside the book. So it became more like just like reading someone's journal and just honestly just reading, listening to someone's thoughts about, her mother's depression, racism, like Black woman in like STEM. So it's just like a whole bunch of different topics that it hit on. So that part, like I really do get about it being relatable. So I think definitely I got more into the book, more like the second half of the book than the beginning. I guess, I don't know, kind of just started off slow for me. Like the way things were set up, I think I just had to get used to that. But everything else, I really enjoyed the book. I think that was like everything. So yeah, I rated 4 stars. I enjoyed it. Let me see. The ending. What did you think about the ending? The epilogue, I guess. What did you think about that?
It came out of the blue. I was like, one minute we're looking for her mom in trees, and the next they're in New Jersey with a mansion. Like, what? How did that happen?
I thought the ending was just abrupt. And it was very abrupt, and I was just like, wait, because I don't know, I felt like we were still getting more about like her mom. Like I felt like things were going like down with her mom when her mom, she left the apartment that day, and then the next thing you know, it's like the end of the book, and I'm just like, wait, I feel like I wanted some type of closure, but maybe that was the point, like to find out like what happened with her mom. Like I don't know. But I mean, I know how like her mom passed in the end, but I just wish I got a little bit more into that, kind of. Does that make sense?
I feel like there was closure. It just wasn't obvious closure. I feel like throughout the book we kind of got the feeling that she and her mom had this difficult relationship, which like from the start they did, because of her mom being very rough with her and her brother, and the Chin Chin man being like the more nurturing parent. And then after Nana died, it was like her mom she really fell into that depression, and she wasn't there for her as much as she should have been. And I think that wedge that they had, it might have confused her into like, I wanted, not confused her, but it was more like I need to get away from this, and I don't know who my mom is. So I have to like figure out who I am. So I kind of feel like her mom coming to stay with her at the end was that it gave her all those memories. Like there were so many flashbacks, and I feel like that had to happen for her to recognize that like I really do love my mom, and there's a lot that went on, but at the end of the day, like she's still my mom, and I still really care for her. And I feel like when her mom went missing and she went looking for her and like driving around the city to find her, that was like that moment where she's like, I really do, like she's still my mother, and I still really love her, and I'm still going to try and be there for like as best as I can for her.
Yeah, I definitely feel like like how can I say, definitely the progression of her relationship with her mom. I don't know. I feel like with the religion, when you put it into like how like her mom brought her up, I think definitely like when you said about her trying to find herself. So I think she had to, I don't know, because the religion, I think she just had to step away from the religion just because when she's reflecting and like she's looking back at her old journal, especially like things about with the Nana. So when she was reflecting on things like that, she's just like, oh, kind of like I was so naive, you know, believing just openly like everything about my religion. And that kind of to me brought up the thing about like when you're brought up so in like strongly like in a religion, and then sometimes it's just like you're just told to believe like, oh, you just believe this, you believe that, but then when you grow up you have your own opinions and your own thoughts about things. So sometimes I feel like definitely with her it was like that struggle with her religion and saying like, I don't really agree with this, like I don't agree with that part. So I don't know, I definitely feel like the religion put that a big wedge in between like her and her mom.
I feel like that's the part where like I also really identify because like we both went to Catholic school, and I feel like in Catholic school, especially in an elementary school, like you're just taught religion like she was, like, oh, these are the Bible verses, these are like the people that you really need to know. And like remember on tests it was just like if you just put Jesus there was like a 30% chance that would be the right answer. And then once you got to high school, like you learned it a little more in depth, but I still felt like I was learning it and I knew about God and I knew about the Bible and everything, but I wasn't like, I didn't feel connected to God. And it wasn't until like the last like 2 years where I'm just like really thinking about that God and like like a higher power, and thinking about like, okay, how do I connect to this? And like, yeah, so I just feel like I identify with it.
Okay. Yeah. So those are, I think, definitely the main things like in this book, like we both were able to identify or relate with was the religion, you know, being African American and STEM, because I believe like she was the only person where she went to Stanford, and you know she was like the only, I think she was maybe like the second or third like African American woman in her lab that she was working in. So yeah, that was definitely like a huge topic. But we have to talk about one more person. I just want your opinion. The Chin Chin Man. How do you feel? I'm just so mad at the Chin Chin Man. I don't even know what to say.
That was like the biggest portion of my vlog, because I mean, like I said, I feel like there's a lot of families here who like my relatives are like families that I know who like had the same kind of struggle. You left your family, and like even when I said it in the beginning, like when he had just left, and later on when we learned that he wanted to take Nana with him, and first of all I was like, you only want to take one child?
That's horrible.
First of all, but also just like I feel like I said in my blog, when you have children, I feel like you have to let go of some of that selfishness of your own happiness in order to provide for them. And him going, like, just moving back to Ghana and leaving the children there with their mother, who they could barely afford to eat, or couldn't really afford to eat before, and now you're leaving them in a single-parent household where she's not even there most of the time because she has to work so much. Like, how did you think that was a better solution?
Yeah, he was complete, like, the part, I mean, the whole thing about him just saying he's going to visit, and then a visit turns into a month, and then to a year, and I'm just like...
He was never planning to come.
Yeah, and then it just really, like, he just really got me upset was when her mom sent her back to Ghana to stay with her aunt, and she's like, did you know I was already here? And then he just... Yeah. I was just... You knew she's been here for, I don't know, like, a whole summer, and you haven't come to see her. Like, what?
Like, at all. Like, what? Do you care? Do you actually care?
I was just like, this man is horrible. And then he, when he even said when Nana died, like, what did you tell everyone? And when she asked him, he was like, oh, I told him he had a disease or something. Or something like that. He was sick. He was sick. Yeah. And I'm just like...
I don't even.
Yeah, he was just too much. I put you in the trash.
The only other thing that I felt like really stuck out to me was like her Nana's struggle with addiction, because I feel like this is something that like we talk about at work a lot, is that the stigma of addiction and how all those outsiders' points of view and them projecting their opinions on the family makes it harder for the family. And just like him struggling and her mom not really understanding, I guess, the extent of the addiction, and like she sent him to rehab and detox and everything like that, but I feel like she kind of thought before that prayer could fix it, and that wasn't happening. Yeah. So I just feel like, especially with them being like an immigrant African household, like we don't hear about that as much. Like obviously there are Black people who suffer with addiction and everything like that, but I feel like you don't really hear about like African families doing it. So I like that she put it in this scenario.
And I think like also going into the mom, like she didn't really, like, she, you know how since she's by herself, she's a single mom, and so she's trying to, you know, just work all these like long hours to provide for them. So also like I feel like definitely when you have someone who's struggling with an addiction, you can send them to like rehab and everything, but they need that family support, social support. So I think also like that was like a huge part that was missing from, you know, his treatment and everything like that. So yeah, it was definitely like reading about, you know, how his addiction was like affecting his family and everything. It was really sad, and definitely like the stigmas, you know, talking about like how like you'll just say like, oh, people are like, oh, those people, or, you know, especially like people in their church when they started talking about, you know, Nana, and, you know, saying like, oh, he's addicted and stuff like that. So yeah, I was addicted to But I thought that the book overall, it was good. I liked it. A nice pick. A nice pick. Yeah. So
it had like everything rolled into one, like the addiction, the immigrant household, the racism of the South, the religion. I just thought that she
hit it on a nail.
You did this, girl. You did this.
Bye. Bye.